Hello, I'm Wally Wood, welcoming you to another edition of the Revelation File on KBN and its network. We thank you that you have been with us all this way. We are starting episode 21 today, and for any new viewers, we are a program given to the research, the writing, the revelation of global trends as it corresponds with end-time Bible prophecy. That the prophecies of old are today's headlines. And what I want to take you into today has to do with a transparent world, our transparent world, how transparent we've become and what this means to us in the long run when it comes to end-time Bible prophecy.
Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over. Can brain scans be used to determine whether a person is inclined toward criminality or violent behavior? You will rule on that.
After 4 months of harassing phone calls, Heather and Courtney Kuykendall were afraid to answer their cell phones.
You are so dead.
The graphic, violent threats came at all hours, forcing the family to change their cell phone numbers. But even that didn't work.
I will kill you.
They said they were going, to rape her.
The Kuykendalls were featured on NBC's Today Show after anonymous stalkers literally took control of the family's cell phones and began following their every move.
Text to landline message. We are going to start coming every night. You just might not know when. We're looking at you.
They're listening to us and recording us. We know that because they will record us and play it back as a voicemail.
So how is this possible? Just take a look at the internet. That's where you'll find the latest spy technology for cell phones. Marketers claim you can tap into someone's calls, read their text messages, and track their movements anywhere, anytime. They say you can catch a cheating spouse, protect your children, and hear what your boss is saying about you. And they'll never know because it's supposed to be completely invisible with absolutely no trace.
This stuff's pretty creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
Rick Mislin is a former military intelligence officer who now runs the cyber forensics lab at Purdue University. He's examined thousands of cell phones and says spy software can now make even the most high-tech phone vulnerable.
I think a lot of people think their cell phone calls are very secure. Our privacy isn't always what we think it is.
And you don't have to take his word for it. Just ask Cindy Abear. Cindy is a producer at Channel 13, and with her permission, I've installed spy software onto her cell phone.
Hi, it's me. What are you doing?
While Cindy's at home making phone calls to her family,
Have you guys thought any more about...
Coming through here to Indianapolis to Florida?
Yeah, it'll be a long time.
I'm outside on my cell phone listening to the whole conversation.
Whenever you make it through, we'll be here.
And there's more. Every time Cindy makes or receives a call,
Eyewitness News, this is Cindy.
my cell phone lets me know. It's a text message telling me she's on the phone so I can call in and listen. On my computer, I also get a copy of her text messages. I can see the phone numbers of all her incoming and outgoing calls, and no matter where Cindy is with her cell phone, I get constant satellite updates on her location. I can literally track Cindy anywhere she goes. And I'm just getting started. Take a look at this.
Especially if she's already, thin and little.
Cindy doesn't even have to be using her cell phone for me to hear what she's doing. Even if her cell phone is just sitting on a table or attached to her purse, I can activate the speaker on that phone and secretly listen in.
So what are the rules for listening in?
That means while Cindy is meeting with our station attorney up on the 36th floor of that downtown building,
And does their intent matter?
I can hear their conversation even though I'm 4 miles away. I'm eavesdropping on them from the city's north side. And I can hear every word.
Or today, yeah, as long as you can do all those kind of things, you can use that as evidence.
Doing this without someone's permission is illegal, but it's still happening.
The technology is there. It's been there for a long time. It's accessible. It's done all the time.
Tim Wilcox is a private investigator in Indianapolis. He says people really are using cell phone spy programs, and every day he gets letters and emails from those needing help.
There's only two people. One wants to bug somebody, and the other has been bugged and is worried about how it's being done and how to find out and how to stop it.
The harassment did stop for the Kuykendalls, but only after they brought in police and the FBI. While authorities never figured out who hijacked the family's cell phones, security experts say the case serves as a powerful lesson for the rest of us.
Your privacy isn't your privacy. You know, it is exposed. It is exploited.
Yeah, okay. That's what I just worry about there.
So, how can you protect yourself? Well, for starters, don't just leave your cell phone lying around where anyone can get to it. Install a password on here to prevent others from accessing your phone. And when you're not using it, go ahead and turn it off and actually take out the battery. We've got more tips for you at WTHR.com. I'm Bob Siegel, Channel 13, Eyewitness News.
Now, as you can tell, this was rather old because all the phones they were using were flip phones. But the technology has advanced so much tighter now, even with the new cell phones and the iPhones and Androids and things like this. There are no guarantees. There's no a way to keep the phones from being hacked into. And we've got reports and video updates on that as well that we'll show you at another time. Today's phones, you cannot remove the battery. So that's one solution that is no longer viable. But we're bringing this to our attention because, again, part of our transparency is in the digital equipment that we carry on our bodies that we use all the time and we don't think anything of it. And there's plenty of evidence out there to show that we are being hacked, we're being tracked, we're being surveyed, monitored, and things of this nature. We are a transparent world. Our transparentworld.com, this is one of my 5 websites. When you go there, I keep you updated on the information that is available that will show us just how heavily tracked we are, how visible we are, even in our most private moments. There are some strange stories I can tell you, folks. But this is one of my websites. I invite you to go there. We're also on YouTube and Facebook. So go to ourtransparentworld.com. You can find out more information there. When the privacy is gone, what then? The premise behind this research, again, I told you that we are a biblically based news and information ministry. In Revelation 13:15, we read, "The second beast was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast, so that the image could both speak and cause all who refused to worship the image of the beast to be killed." Now, that's in the Bible. Our question is, in a world of over 7.5 billion people, how are they going to know who's worshiping him and who's not? ZDNet brought us up to date on the state of privacy. It will get worse before it gets better. Quoting, "As big data, the Internet of Things, and social media spread their wings, they bring new challenges to information security and user privacy. Wearable technology creates a new opportunity for private data to be collected, whether with or without the user's knowledge. And oftentimes the user might have granted permission without realizing quite what they were giving up. The amount of data being collected on each user is astounding." End of quote. Some books from my library. The Transparent Society by David Brin. No Place to Hide by Robert O'Hara. The End of Privacy by Charles Sykes. The Limits of Privacy, Amitai Etzioni. From the book The Death of Money by Alex Preston, writing in the Guardian of London in August of 2014, and I quote, "Google knows what you're looking for. Facebook knows what you like. Sharing is the norm, and secrecy is out. But what is the psychological and cultural fallout from the end of privacy? We've come to the end of privacy. We have signed away our rights and privileges that other generations fought for, end of quote. So the question is, just how transparent are we?
Should you find yourself in Terminal B at Newark Airport, look up. Those aren't just new lights, they're smart lights, a sophisticated array of LED fixtures with built-in sensors and cameras connected over a wireless network. They monitor security, the flow of foot traffic.
Newark's primarily interested in energy savings.
Hugh Martin is president of Sensity, the Silicon Valley company that developed the smart lights at Newark and this parking garage in San Jose.
So these lights, they sense that we're walking?
Yeah, there's a motion sensor in each individual light.
What does this do as far as energy?
This week we saved about $3,500 or over $182,000 a year in energy saved just from this.
Across the globe, cities are phasing out old energy-wasting incandescent and sodium bulbs and replacing them with LEDs, which can act as a power hub that can be tailored for high-tech add-ons. That's the smart part. They're also 90% more efficient, longer lasting, and much brighter.
Whoa, that is bright.
There are about 4 billion outside lights in the world today. Imagine all these lights connected in one global network.
This is one of just a few places in the country where a smart light network has been installed. This Silicon Valley building uses it primarily for security. And here's how it works. There are 40 lampposts in this lot, holding 83 LED lights connected to 7 cameras in a seamless grid that is tracking and recording my every move.
So we do use the license plate recognition, and we also can detect people.
Kevin Kirk is chief engineer for the Shorenstein Company, which owns this building. The company plans to install smart lights at their properties across the country.
Everything goes up into the cloud, so we can access everything from anywhere. The future is limitless for this technology.
The Smart Light Network has the ability to spot an unattended bag at an airport and alert security, show drivers to empty parking spaces, alert shoppers of sales as they walk past retailers. Existing LED lights can be retrofitted with sensors to monitor pollution, measure snowfall, sniff out a dirty bomb before it can spew radiation.
There's no end to the kind of information you could gather.
Yep.
And therein lies the problem. In the future, the smart network could track every place we go, everything we buy, everything we do all the time.
It sounds rather Orwellian.
Wouldn't at least the parents of kids at a school feel better if they knew that there was an analytic that looked for objects that could be guns on people that were coming into the school? Wouldn't that be a good thing?
We're all both benefiting and at risk from this.
Dr. Linton Wells with the National Defense University in Washington says technology is evolving faster than our policies to control it.
So I think the onus has to be on the citizen. It's your information that's at risk out there.
Is the technology getting ahead of us?
If we don't have the technology, we won't confront the issues and we won't figure out the right way.
With a smart light network, the future can be bright if we're smart about how we use it. For CBS This Morning, Bill Whitaker, Sunnyvale, California.
But in the future, every square inch of every city will be alive with intelligence. Because every street and every building will have a network of microcomputers built right into them. Dr. Chris Piester calls it smart dust.
A smart dust particle or mote is a wireless sensor with sensing, computation, communication, and power in one package.
These all-in-one microcomputers will be small, very small.
The size of a mote today is about the size of a grain of rice. And we've shown that we can make the circuitry small enough and light enough that eventually it will be possible to make things that are on a sub-millimeter size scale.
Tiny specks of computer smart dust will form a vast invisible network that can help manage the infrastructure of even the largest city.
Smart cities in the future will take this low-power, inexpensive, small technology and basically distribute it everywhere.
These tiny computers record information about their surroundings, information they can send to other computers or to you. Smart Dust on the tracks will monitor your commuter train so you know if it's running late. Potholes will be able to report themselves and warn your car, and you'll never have to wait for a radio traffic report again.
They're monitoring the flow of traffic and giving you alerts about what route is the right way to go to keep the traffic moving.
Bridges will get a coating of Smart Dust particles that can warn us when they detect stress fractures, helping avoid deadly collapses. But Smart Dust will also allow buildings and streets to recognize you and respond accordingly.
I think increasingly the environment will respond to who we are and adapt in consequence.
The city will know where you are.
Your workplace will know you. Smart Dust at the entrance will boot up your computer. And Smart Dust embedded in the elevator doors will automatically ring your floor.
Smart Dust is going to sense the environment and allow us to improve the way that we live our lives.
No matter how we live in the future city, it will be radically different.
Smart Dust was first introduced during the Afghan war, and it has been used in that conflict and that entire region for years now. Planes would fly over an area and just spray Smart Dust into the region. And the way it operates is that once it settles, all the particles search for an epicenter in their gathering, and they connect with that epicenter. And then whatever information they pick up, they can even pick up audio, in some cases video, database type of information, and they transmit it back to the epicenter of that cloud of dust. And then that epicenter transmits it to a satellite. And satellites pick it up and transfer that information to bases in the states, such as in California, Air Force bases, things like this. Reportedly, this Smart Dust has been used to even find terrorists on their own turf. As they walk through the streets, walk through the fields, the Smart Dust cleans itself because it looks like dust, so nobody is suspicious of it. And it clings to their clothing. And then the data transfer begins. That's how reportedly Saddam Hussein was found in the hole that he was discovered in because of Smart Dust on his person. A few other key terrorists were located by way of the same methodology. And now it's finding its way into civilian use. As you heard here, the city will know where you are and who you are. So this is not science fiction. It's not conspiracy theory. These are the facts of our times. And again, I trace it back to what the Bible says. How will the image of the beast know who's worshiping him and who's not in a world of 7.5 billion people? It will occur by way of everybody being on the grid in one form, fashion, or another through the digitization of their clothing. Even now, RFID tags, which you've, I'm sure, heard a lot about, finding their way into your clothing, your jewelry, your underwear, your socks, your glasses, your cars. And we've covered some of this in the past, and we'll go into it in deeper detail in upcoming programs. So it's all part of the visualization, the exposure of people, the transparency of people for the first time in history.
My husband and I would randomly joke sometimes, like, I bet these devices are listening to what we're saying.
Until recently, Danielle's home was completely wired up in every room with the Amazon Echo. Her family used the Alexa app to do everything from turn up the heat to turn off the lights. But Danielle told us via Skype that 2 weeks ago, their love for Alexa changed with an alarming phone call.
The person on the other line said, "Unplug your Alexa devices right now."
That person was one of her husband's employees calling from Seattle.
We go around and unplug them all. He proceeded to tell us that he had received audio files recordings from what was going on in our house.
Danielle says her Amazon device in her Portland home recorded a private conversation and sent that recording to a random contact, which happened to be the employee in Seattle.
At first, my husband was like, no, you didn't. And he's like, you're sat there talking about hardwood floors. And we're, oh gosh, you really did.
Danielle listened to the conversation and she couldn't believe someone 176 miles away heard it too.
I felt invaded, like total privacy invasion. Like immediately I'm like, I'm never plugging that device in again. I can't trust it.
Danielle unplugged all the devices.
It was one of these that sent it.
And she repeatedly called Amazon. She says an Alexa engineer investigated.
Well, our engineers went through all of your logs. They saw exactly what you told us, exactly what you said happened, and we're sorry.
We're sorry.
He apologized like 15 times in like a matter of 30 minutes and said, we really appreciate you bringing this to our attention. This is something we need to fix.
And did he tell you why it happened?
He said that the device guessed what we were saying.
When we asked Amazon questions, they sent this response. Amazon takes privacy very seriously. We investigated what happened and determined this was an extremely rare occurrence. We are taking steps to avoid this from happening in the future.
You know, husband and wife, when they're in the privacy of their home, they have conversations that they're not expecting to be sent to their address book.
Gary Horker, Kairos 7 News.
No place to hide. Let me introduce you to another new word in the English language, OmniValence, first coined by Kim Taple in 1999. OmniValence is the ability to observe, monitor all things at all times. An 81-page white paper published January 1st, 2009 in the Santa Clara Law Review out of Houston, entitled OmniValence, Google, Privacy in Public, and the Right to Your Digital Identity, a tort for recording and disseminating an individual's image over the Internet. It was written by Josh Blackman, who is assistant professor at the South Texas College of Law here in Houston, in which he says, and I quote, Google does not only record streets. Its high-resolution cameras are able to capture people both outside and inside of their homes through open windows engaged in private matters. Those captured by Google's cameras are not even aware that they are being recorded, as Google uses nondescript recording equipment to clandestinely record people in their natural state. These images are then disseminated to users all over the world. Current privacy laws do not prevent Google from implementing a system that broadcasts live video feeds of street corners throughout America. This threat is all the more real in light of projected trends in technology and the path of future Internet developments. Such pervasive human monitoring is the essence of the phenomenon we have termed omnivalence. End of quote. Bloomberg Business Week. It's not spying if they're always watching. That was the front cover of one of their magazines. National Geographic, the new Big Brother. Time magazine talking about the smartwatch. If you own a smartwatch, you're never offline. Popular Mechanics, Digital Thought Police. From your workplace to the courtroom to your private home. Dragnet Nation by Julia Engwin. No place to hide. GovTech Magazine of March 2017 wrote, and I quote, looking back at the timeline of video's evolution, it isn't hard to see how we arrived at this point. The bulky cinder block-shaped surveillance cameras once dotting the walls of banks and high-security locations have given way to high-definition, infrared, semi-intelligent systems almost everywhere we go. End of quote. So, is the Bible relevant on topics like this? Micah 7:5, watch this. Do not trust in a neighbor. Do not have confidence in a friend. From her who lies in your bosom, guard your lips. Now, these verses may be within their own context in Scripture, but I want you to hear them in the context of contemporary world in which we're living today on this topic of transparency. and see if it couldn't also be prophetic. Luke 12, verse 3. What you've said in the dark will be heard in the daylight, and what you have whispered in the ear in the inner rooms will be proclaimed from the roofs. End of quote. Just like we heard in that last report. Private conversations in one's own home. Ecclesiastes 10:20. Furthermore, in your bedchamber do not curse a king, and in your sleeping rooms do not curse a rich man, for a bird of the heavens will carry the sound, and the winged creature will make the matter known. Wow. Do we not call satellites birds in the sky? 2 Kings 6:12. Elisha the prophet, who is in Israel, tells the king of Israel the very words you speak in your bedroom. Takes on a rather pertinent, poignant perspective in the context of today's advanced surveillance technology of OmniValence. There are more reports that I've prepared over the years that include more videos just like this, more books, journals, magazines, newspaper reports. I'm not a news junkie. I'm one who studies Bible prophecy in the light of the calling into which I've been called. And when the Lord told me back in 1972 that I was not to say a word without the documentation to back it up, and he would see to it I had all the documentation I needed, it was all for a purpose like we're doing right now today. And I promise you, the more that we have to share with you, I pray that you will receive this information, that you'll be educated by it, and that you'll be not alarmed, but alert, as Jesus told us to be in Matthew 25. Stay on the alert, so that you will not be dismayed. You won't be caught by surprise. Such is the world we're living in. These are the days of Jesus' return. I thank you for listening. I'm Wally Wood. This is the Revelation File. We invite you to come back for another episode. Thank you for joining us.
You have been watching the Revelation File Report with Wally Wood, a Wally Wood Ministries production from Houston, Texas. You are able to support the ministry by donating at wallywoodministries.com and by mail at Wally Wood Ministries, P.O. Box 42005, Houston, Texas 77242. Wally is available to present full 2-hour forums in your city called the Revelation File News Forum. For more details, contact Andy Valadez at 713-560-3348 or by email at andy@andyvaladez.com. The Revelation File News Report is a weekly update of global trends in the news as it aligns with end-time Bible prophecy. Tune in again next time and be sure to like and share this channel.